It
Hi.
says we are live. Okay.
All right. It was Wednesday, January 29th, 2025.
Hello.
Hello, Jack. My name is John, and we're gonna we're gonna go from crypto zero to hero today. So, two ideas real quick I want to touch on before the main idea. The main idea I want to talk about today is deep was it DeepSeek?
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk with DeepSeek, but real quick I want to mention two things. And there's a third thing that I already forgot, but we'll just do the two things. One is the simple one is expense ratio. So if you have a $200,000 investment and you're earning like 8% per year on it, something reasonable, um, and you hold it for 20 years, it's going to be worth $1 million after 20 years. Or my math is probably not exact on that, but it's approximately that. But if you have like a 1% expense ratio, so expense ratio means that the whoever is custodying your funds, whether it's like an ETF or financial advisor or whatever, they'll take out 1% per year of all your money every year. So if I hold like a S&P 500 ETF or like a semiconductors ETF or a Bitcoin ETF, um, there's a certain percentage that gets taken out, and that as fees every year. The whole like if I have $100 in there and the expense ratio is 1%, I'm paying $1. The next year it's worth $108. I'm paying $1.08. The year after that it's worth, whatever, 117 $117. I'm paying $1.17 in fees. And it just keeps going like that. Um, so it makes a huge difference at the bottom line though, because with a 1% expense fee, like you're paying like I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's like 250,000 or even $500,000 in fees over the course of that 20 years. So like it's not like 1% sounds like no big deal. But you add it up, it ends up being like 50% or at least 33%, like a shockingly high percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your life savings. And half of it or a third of it is going towards whoever's custodying what you're investing, either your financial advisor or the ETF, even the passive managed ETF, right? Like even paying a 1% fee to your financial advisor, like, and if he's getting you something like 8%, like you're getting screwed. You're getting screwed straight up. Like he's getting like half your life savings. Like that's way too big a cut. So that's expense rate, and we can do like a whole episode on it. But I just want to mention expense ratio because there's people that look at an ETF that is like the exact ETF they want, but it's a 1.5% expense ratio or some crazy shit like that. Like you don't it doesn't matter like it doesn't matter how good of an ETF it is if you're paying that much in fees, like they're getting more than half your money at that point. So
The
like
uh, the AI overview says the expense ratio is a percentage of a fund's daily investment value that's dedicated to cover the operating costs. It's calculated by dividing the total fund costs by the total fund assets.
right, and the cost is their salary. So that's what it is. So
Yeah, it's
same
funny
with your
that
financial advisor.
the little caption underneath that from like what from Bankrate says, think of the expense ratio as the management fee paid to the fund company for the benefit of owning the fund.
Yep. Yeah.
They
No, that's
basically
exactly.
tell you right there you're getting screwed.
Yeah, definitely. So you have to be real careful. And there's a few ETFs I invest in, and they all have very small expense ratios. But we'll make a whole episode on that. I just want people to be aware of that. I'm probably going to say something about every episode because I realize that's one way that even people who already know what they're doing, who are already investing, they might not even realize they're getting screwed in that way. Right? There's a lot of ways that you can get screwed. Like it's difficult to invest profitably, and that's by design as well. Anyway, let's not. But that's expense ratio. So that's the thing. The other thing is the basic concept that if if the government creates more dollars, that the end result of doing that is that there's more dollars to purchase the same amount of goods. Right? There's the same amount of houses, same amount of cars, approximately, same amount of people eating the same amount of food. But then you have more dollars then like for instance, you have land, you have an acre of land, the land is the same, but since COVID, which was only 5 years ago, the government's already printed 40% more money, more dollars. So the supply of dollars went up, but the supply of land did not go up by 40%. But the supply of dollars did go up 40%. In fact, I just bought regular eggs at Cub and it was $7 for regular Cub eggs, for a dozen regular Cub eggs.
For those of you
$7.
for those of you not from the Midwest, Cub is a chain of grocery stores that sells your normal essentials.
It's a very like standard grocery store, right? Like it's not a rich person's grocery store. It's not necessarily a poor person's grocery store because it's nice, right? We have like poor people grocery stores that are not nice also. But this is like a nice store that poor people can afford to shop at. So it's pretty cool. But like $7 for Cub egg. I mean, Cub eggs were before pandemic. Cub eggs were a fucking dollar for a dozen, 99 cents for Cub eggs, and fancy eggs were $4 or $5 a dozen. Now and then it was $3 or $4 for regular eggs and $6 or $7 for the fancy eggs. Now they didn't even have fancy eggs. The fancy egg shelf was either empty or filled with fucking Cub eggs. And all the Cub egg shelves were full of Cub eggs too. And you know why they had so many Cub eggs? Because no one was buying them because they're $7 a dozen. And they didn't even have, you couldn't even get premium eggs. There just wasn't any. They all the premium eggs that used to be $7 probably sold out because people are like, oh, Cub eggs cost the same as premium massaged, wild turkey fucking chickens,
Wild
right?
turkey chickens.
Yeah, drinking whiskey and shit. I don't know what these. They have more fun than my cats do, walking around the field and shit. These eggs I buy from Vital Farms, oh, they're so good. Those were like $9 for like chickens that had names and shit. Like, and they had like a little newspaper in the carton, like that you could read about your favorite chickens. Those eggs were $9 a dozen. Those weren't, those are of course sold out because even Cub eggs are $7 a dozen now. Like that's crazy shit. Are eggs any different? Are chickens any different? No, the whole goddamn state is covered with chicken farms. There's chickens all over the place around here. That's why we got our eggs so cheap for a long time. But now, like with inflation, there's more dollars. That's what I'm trying to say. There's more dollars. There's same amount of chickens, same amount of eggs, but there's more dollars. So now it's more dollars per egg.
Yep.
Straight up. Like that's all there is to it. It's just that simple.
And yeah, the reason for that is that the cost of the capital goods that the people that produce the eggs need, those
Oh, you cut out on me, bro. What's going on? Dude, I totally lost you.
whoops, my mic keeps dying.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
I lost you for a minute. We are back now. You were saying something. I was talking about eggs or something crazy. Hello? I can't hear you again. Yo, Jack, this is gonna make a tough live show, bro. Well, I guess if we're live, if anybody's watching this live, I don't. Okay, so I was talking about, yeah, that's just inflation. How inflation works. And that's why you got to invest in something besides dollars in your checking account. You got to save in gold, or you got to save in Bitcoin, or you got to save in stocks, or you got to save in real estate, or a mixture of all four, which I do. You
Sorry,
still
man.
there, Jack?
I no, my mic keeps cutting out and dying.
All right, is it working now?
It turns on for a little while, then it turns off. So
Can you use a different mic?
I do not have another mic.
Okay.
It's just
Well,
this one's losing its ability to work properly.
how much time we
So
got left?
I don't. I
All
got
right.
about 10 minutes.
Okay, so we did a quick overview of what printing dollars, how that translates to higher prices, and translate to higher prices for gold, higher prices for stocks, higher prices for real estate, higher prices for Bitcoin, higher prices for altcoins. Sometimes, if you have the right altcoin. um, but so so where we're at, we're talking about deep think. Okay, or not
Deep
deep speak.
deep seek.
So deep sea kind of was like, whoa, because like I'm at my stock investments are all AI, every single one of them. I have the Magnificent Seven, which I think is a good cornerstone to any portfolio. And if you're invested in the S&P 500, like SPY or IVV or VOO, or if you're invested in the Nasdaq 100, like the QQQ or the QQQM, which has a lower expense ratio, if you invest in any of that shit, like a big percentage of that is the Magnificent Seven, like 30% or 50%, I think, depending on if it's the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq. So like almost everybody's invested in these stocks, and the reason the Magnificent Seven it's a top seven by market cap, usually depending on the day, and it's the top seven U.S. stocks by market cap, and the top they generate the most net income, like just on like they each make like $100 billion a quarter. Well, some of them only make like $25 billion a quarter, right? But like they're making like, or maybe even less than that. I mean, it varies quarter to quarter. I can't remember the exact numbers on all of them, but they all make money. They all make a lot of money. They have large market caps, and everybody knows about them. And even if you don't know what the Magnificent Seven is, I'll tell you, it's Apple and Microsoft and Google and Facebook and Amazon. Let's see, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Nvidia, and Tesla. That's the Magnificent Seven. And and those are all AI plays in one way or another, and those are like the best stocks in the stock market. Like if your stock isn't beating the Magnificent Seven, you shouldn't bother owning it. But also, the Magnificent Seven is highly concentrated in computer stuff and AI stuff, right? Not exactly. Like they do some other things too, barely. Like Tesla sells some cars, and um, Facebook. I don't know. I mean, they do some non-computer stuff a little bit, but not really. It's mostly computer stuff, right? And that's why this thing, and USA has been leading in computers for the last 20 years at least. Like we've been leading in computers, and
I
computers
think
make the
we've
most.
always led in computers.
Yeah, we might have always like that. That might be true. So, and then and we've been leading in AI and all that shit, like still leading in computers. And then all of a sudden, China comes out with this fucking open source AI model which does about the same as ChatGPT and Grok. Like it works pretty good, and and they spent way less. Like all our big companies,
Well, they say that.
right. So they say they spent way less, and um, I mean, China's pretty good at making shit for cheap, right? And obviously they looked at our AI stuff, and they're like, oh,
Well, yeah,
we
because that was
tweak
also
this.
open source.
Right. Well, not all of it. ChatGPT is closed source. I don't know if Grok's open source or not, but some's open source, some's not, right? But the Chinese shit is open source. Whatever they figured out how to do it with looking at whatever they're looking at using whichever GPUs they're using. Apparently, they're using like some NVIDIA GPUs from last year, like just older ones, and they tweaked them to run fast. They're good enough, right? Or they have some black market H100s, the brand new ones. Who cares, right? The fact of the matter is that the open source code is there for everybody to see. Like the open source the code itself is more efficient, so it doesn't require quite as much computing power as the American versions.
Yeah, because they're not running it against all the different.
It's not as accurate.
It's not. They're not running it against all the different data sets. So
Right. Yeah.
essentially, they're like,
Yeah.
if you were to dumb it down, you could say like, well, okay, so the AI is like a doctor, a lawyer, a government official, fill in the blank,
Yeah.
right? With whatever major category you want to talk
Chemist,
about.
biologist.
Yeah, exactly. And then you essentially what the way I understand it, the deep seek is essentially different than its counterparts in that you can have it tune out the stuff that is not necessary for your query.
Yep.
So you can like shut down the doctor and the lawyer when all you need is a biology question.
So it can be more efficient.
Right. So then you don't have to use as much compute.
Yep. Yep. Because that's the problem. That's why Facebook and Google and Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla are busy buying hundreds of billions of dollars of fucking Nvidia chips because so they can process this shit from the AI and or for the AI and to train it and for people to use it. And I think what they did was is they trained the model less expensively or more efficiently, but then actually like processing like new queries still requires a lot of work, maybe even more work. I'm not sure. Like there's trade-offs with it, right? But the fact of the matter is they came up with some advancements in AI that nobody in the United States, there's 5-10 different United States companies at least spending a bunch of money to develop AI, right? And they're each got their own AI. Like there's an AI race among all these American companies, the Magnificent Seven, especially. And and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, China drops this open source shit that's actually like pretty high quality, right? Pretty efficient. Like has multiple innovations in the code. And we're like, oh shit. Like I shit my pants. I was like, oh fuck. Because that's what I'm invested in my stocks. Now my stocks are only like I said, I invest in like four categories: real estate, gold, Bitcoin, and stocks. Stocks is only 1/4. Now, I mean, the percentages might be different, and actually, stocks are much less than 1/4 of my current portfolio mix. Um, so I didn't really care. Like that shit tanked real hard because it's a low, and even if all American stocks go to zero, like I'm gonna be fine. like like it's a small sliver of my money actually, and I'm trying to like expand it to be bigger. But now I'm like, oh shit, do I even want to expand it to be bigger? Like the S&P 500 is at like all-time highs from or an earnings perspective, meaning like the market cap per profit ratio, price earnings ratio, in other words, is much larger than it's been for a long time. Like it's getting to be where things are topping out. My guess is we'll top out this year. My guess is stocks will top out along with crypto, with quantitative easing and everything, and we'll some sort of blow off top maybe. But anyway, long term the stocks probably fine. But the thing is, like, long term stocks have been fine. American stocks have been fine since 1871. And I would argue that the reason for that is because since 1871, Americans have been kind of ahead of the curve on technology upgrades.
Yep, I'd agree.
I, we've been, as a country, we've been ahead of most other countries in technology since 1871. And what technology we have in 1871? I don't know, guns, the telegraph. Like, we had all kinds of shit. I mean, we were about inventing the radio near and photography cameras,
Hmm.
fucking railroads. Like we had all kinds of technology back then. Like we've been on the leading edge of technology. Has there been other countries ahead of us, especially back then? Yes, but like we were ahead of most countries, and definitely like the farther you go from 1871 till now, the more and more ahead we get. And we've just been ahead the whole fucking time, and for at
And
least
this
100 years.
suggests maybe that we aren't, right? Like that's the
Right. This is like, oh, wait a minute. Here's something that even like and just the area it was in, especially because we were like, because AI is the newest, hottest area, and of course, the USA leading the way. USA number one, and then like this is like written proof. Like I kind of feel like China made it open source just to like flex a little bit, right? because they would have been better off keeping it closed source. We wouldn't have learned it. We because now they made open source. Now we can learn from it. Like the
Mm-hmm.
first thing fucking Zuckerberg said was, "Oh shit! Well, we got a team of guys looking at that right now." Like he just told all his engineers, "Stop what you're doing, study this."
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the first thing we're doing. Is however much China copied from us, we're going to copy right back from them.
And this is just what they're showing us.
And
But
yeah, this is just what they're choosing to make open source. Who knows if they have more advanced shit that's closed source?
which
They
they
they,
almost
they
certainly do.
probably will in
Mm-hmm.
6 months, right? Like the AI, and this is another big thing: the AI arms race. Like anyone who's ever seen Terminator already knows what the future of warfare is going to look like. Just hopefully, at least there's humans controlling the robots. But at that point, who cares? If you're getting killed by a bunch of AI Terminator Tesla robots, who cares if they're AI controlled or China controlled? You're still getting shot by lasers, right? Like that sucks. So like so we got to have the best ones. Obviously, we want the USA ones controlled by apparently Trump. To
Dude, they've created the T1000. It's a thing.
well, I'm sure, like of course, and so
Liquid metal robots are a thing.
right. So sure,
I'm not
I,
kidding. That they're
yeah,
you can look it
I
up.
don't believe you. They made nuclear fusion. At this point, anything's possible,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like quantum computers is the next innovation. Oh, dude, I was looking at quantum computer stocks like a year ago. I even bought some. I have proof of it. I can show you my fucking purchase orders and sell orders. I bought four different quantum computing stocks like a year ago. And then I was like, these companies don't make money yet. Like they're pre-revenue, pre-profit,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
pre-earnings. I'm like, I don't want to hold this shit, get diluted, get dumped on basically by the founders, right? Like, just like, I'm not gonna hold this shit. So, and then I don't look at it for a year. Well, then it shows up on the chart, guys, and he's talking about he's up 20x on his fucking on his quantum computing stocks. I'm like, oh fuck. I looked at all four of them. All four of them went 20x. Like they're fucking shit coins, dude. Like they're meme coins. It's fucking crazy. Like the charts are ridiculous. But
Mm-hmm.
that's off topic. Our topic is well, not really though. But I mean, and who knows? Who knows what kind of monkey wrench quantum computing throws into AI and everything else? Like we're not even talking about quantum computing yet. Like that's like the next thing after AI is going to be quantum computing. And I don't know how many years or decades until then, but I don't know. Shit moves probably pretty fast, so
Dude,
I would
we're
imagine
talking
five to
like
ten years.
we're gonna be talking about next year.
Yeah, well, yeah, or
mark
5 to 10.
my words.
Yeah, it could be as soon as next year. I don't know. Shit happens fast, man. Like
Yeah, well, there like quantum
crazy.
computing already exists. Like they are already using it. There are three or four of them in the United States. Like,
Yeah, I know. It's the thing. Like it's crazy. But anyway, we'll stick with the current crisis is the Chinese people created a fucking AI that's more efficient
yeah, but
and, and
I don't
made
know.
it open source.
I think that that's not that big of a deal. I think.
Well, yeah, I've been thinking about it for a few days. No, you go ahead though.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna say I feel like you know, I mean, who's gonna want to buy Chinese tech?
I don't.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is there anybody in any part of the free world at all that's like, oh yeah,
Well, we
let's download
5G
this.
5G
Wait,
is Chinese tech.
no, it isn't. Not all of it.
Probably not. I'm sure we built more on top of it, but the original 5G was Chinese created it first.
Well, in any event, my point is that there's not going to be this big proliferation of Chinese architecture out there amongst all you know, the rest of the world because nobody's going to want to give the Chinese full open kimono access.
Right, but yet the only car companies competing with Tesla is BYD and other Chinese companies. The only companies that can compete with Tesla on building robots is other Chinese companies, right? Like, um, what else? Oh, there's one other example. But like the competition's on, bro.
Oh, it's been on.
Yeah, and the real
We've been in an economic war with China for years.
yeah, and it's gonna be and it's a race for the next military because the next military is gonna be all drones and robots and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the race is with um, semiconductors. Like that's why Taiwan is like the point of contention because
Dude,
that's where
that's
all the
why
stuff.
Biden passed the CHIPS Act and we have billions of
Yeah,
dollars being poured into new chips facilities around the
yeah,
country.
yeah, we need to make our chips here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got to onshore our manufacturing pronto. As we built up China, we put all our manufacturing in China 50 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and now China's a badass, and like we're fucking ourselves over.
Yeah.
We got to stop manufacturing anything in China. Like we have to make all of our shit here. We shouldn't be buying anything from China. Like, um, anyway, like,
Well, that starts at home. You know what I mean? Like
right,
stop
that's
buying
politics.
stop
Right, we got to
stop.
make it here. We got to
Well,
make
no,
what's.
no, no, no. I'm saying at my home, right?
Uh,
That starts at my home. I have to stop buying the Chinese crap.
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely.
Because the
Like,
thing is that if you keep like if we all keep buying it, like man, or not manufacturers, but retailers are going to be like, well, we're just going to keep buying this because
well, definitely.
our people keep buying it. So
Well, definitely too. And you're talking about like consumer products, whatever. And yeah, I definitely buy made in the USA when it's even available.
right,
Right?
that's part of the problem.
And that right, that's the thing. Like the companies don't even exist
Hmm.
that manufacture in the United States on certain things. Like there's certain things that we don't make here at all
Hmm.
that we totally could and used to, but now it's and the American companies even still exist, but they don't do any manufacturing here anymore. They manufacture overseas. And but that's more of an economics politics thing. I
Hmm.
want to talk about well, and this well, so okay, so this deep seek thing is about economics and politics. So like that's why we're talking about it. But it's definitely like, and they call it a Sputnik moment, and you know this is a little bit different. Like Sputnik wasn't open source. China kind of shared it with the world, which is cool. Like that's very peaceful of them. But like
Well, again, I think that they're just. I think
this
you're
is
right. I think it's a
technological
flex.
advancement. Yeah, as a flex. And Sputnik was a flex too. Like Sputnik didn't actually do anything.
Hmm.
Like it made a beep and they made it random on purpose just to fuck with us. Like the frequency of the beep was like randomized. A certain there was like a it was between like 1 and 3 seconds or 1 and 5 seconds or something like that. But it was like random, like how many seconds between beeps,
Hmm.
but always in that range. So we're like trying to figure out like if it was like Morse code or what the fuck it was. But it was just random beep. It was just I mean, I think it was to send a signal, but they didn't have to make it random, right? They could have made it a steady beat, but they made it random just to fuck with us.
Hmm.
That's just fucking hilarious, kind of. But um, yeah, it just shows like okay, so it makes me less confident, of course, in my American stock investments, right? Because American stocks have been leading for so long because we've been ahead. But now it's like, oh fuck, do I got to look at Chinese fucking tech stocks now? Because I don't want to. And also it sounds like a good way for me to lose my money, but also like I don't want to invest in China. I want to invest in my country, make my country better. Like people are so anti-billionaires. It's like, dude, if we lose our billionaires, we're all gonna die. Like that's where our money comes from. Like, and you use these products that the billionaires are making. Like, yeah, are they right-wing propaganda douchebags? Sure. Um, you can be mad at them about that all you want, but there's also like half the country that is, you know, xenophobic and sexist and and homophobic and all that. Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, again, more politics doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I think that the deep uh, seek is kind of I don't know. I think it's just not that big of a deal, to be honest with you. I think it's an advancement in technology. The Americans didn't get one, but I don't think that that really matters in the grand scheme of things. Like that doesn't change the amount of research and development that's going in to AI.
yeah, definitely. And because it's open source, like all the American companies could just instantly take it in and build on it.
Right.
So it doesn't change things much. It's just kind of a flare gun of what the hell was that over in
Hmm.
China?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a thing, and I mean, I guess I'm not. As soon as I heard about it, I was like, so what? Why is this a
yeah,
problem?
well, it's a problem because you know the leading stocks are Magnificent Seven. And the reason the Magnificent Seven are leading stocks is because of the money they make and the technology that they're working towards, which is AI. Like that's important shit,
Yeah,
and
no, I don't see a
that's what
problem
makes
yet.
them good investments is that they're leading. But now they're not leading, at
Well,
least on that one little thing.
I mean, I would argue that they now share the exact same tech with the company that created it.
Yes, they do. Well, in fact,
So, so now they have all of the things that they're working on behind
yeah,
closed doors, plus all the stuff that the Chinese just released to the world. So,
right.
I mean, to me, this isn't a big deal. Like, it's like, well, cool, you guys came up with some great stuff, and then you didn't even profit from it. So,
Well, and it really proves the point of the people that are against advancing AI is how wrong. This exactly proves why they're wrong. The reason why it's wrong to be against the development of AI is because someone else is going to do it.
yeah,
Don't have a choice. It's getting made.
yeah.
China just made it, open sourced it. Now the whole world has it. You can't stop that. So you just have to accept reality. Like, would it be nice if there was no guns, the entire planet, no war? Wouldn't that be great? Yup, sure would. Do I prefer that? Yup, I sure would. But the reality is we have guns. We got to deal with that world, right? And whether or not to ban guns is a whole different thing, because then what happens if you ban? And that's like banning AI is even worse, right? Like you can kind of like there's been some like I think Australia had a successful gun ban. I'm not sure, and it's not about gun bans. It's about with open source software. It's really hard to ban it, right? That's what you can't ban Bitcoin. Like you can penalize your citizens from using it, but Bitcoin will be fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're not banning Bitcoin, you're banning yourself from Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did. We banned ourselves from developing AI fully, right? Like all the AIs were censored like in certain ways. And right. And that we were, we don't we just out of the fear that we're going to accidentally create Skynet. But Skynet's not the real fear. The real fear is that China develops it first and faster and better, and then takes us over in a military war. But that's not as bad as I thought it would be either. I thought Chinese people worked 72 hours or 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, and that's not true. According to Grok, they only work like 44 hours a week or something reasonable.
Yeah,
So
and
not that big.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think China wants a hot war, anyways. They
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 don't
just
want a hot war. Yeah,
they do not want a hot war. Not
no,
with the
because they'd
United
lose right
States.
now.
Well,
But
and I
but
don't
what
think that.
happens if in 20 years of technological advancements that Chinese does and we don't?
Well, I
And,
don't foresee that world, but even if that were the case, it's still too much of a problem for them to try to keep us unruly Americans, in line. They would much rather divide the world in half and say, all right, you guys keep Europe and we'll get the
well,
Russians and
that's exactly it, right? And the
yeah.
first thing they take is Taiwan,
Hmm.
right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's exactly it. You're right. That's exactly what would happen. Is we would cede territory. The United States has more territory than any other country on the planet right now. When I say territory, I mean trade routes. We have all the trade routes, and we control them with an iron fist. Just ask the Somali pirates. There was a movie. I didn't watch it because I already know what happened. What happened is they got a bunch of fucking Navy SEALs and they fucking shot them in the face with sniper rifles from boat to boat from like a mile away
Yeah.
because they're fucking ridiculous. Because our military is ridiculous. Like it's just nobody is going to try to fight them right now. But with 20 or 30 years of AI and robotics advancements, China might give it a try. And you know what? Who cares? Like whatever. Like that's not the point necessarily. The point. I mean,
I mean, I think it is.
I guess the point. Yeah, there's that, and my bags, bro. Like, what about my bags? Like,
I mean, yeah,
what
you're
about
right.
my bags?
Win
Like, I
Lambo.
got I got my Magnificent Seven stock. I'm very heavy Magnificent Seven in my stocks, especially heavy Tesla and
Well, that's the
Nvidia.
thing is like they didn't take that bad of a hit. I mean, they took a little haircut, but like
Well, I'm buying more at this point, right?
well
But I
that
but
I
I
guess
but I
that
want
speaks to my point.
right. I got
You're
to I'm
not
buying
dumping your
more.
bags, you're buying more.
I'm buying the dip, right? But I also have to also I'm still like keeping the new information in mind and adding it to my previous base of knowledge and evaluating making sure that I'm still certain about the goodness of my Magnificent Seven bags,
Hmm.
right? I'm constantly like my mind doesn't stop, unfortunately, but I'm always thinking about my bags, and I'm thinking about Bitcoin. I'm thinking about Solana. I'm thinking about Magnificent Seven stocks. I'm thinking about my house. I'm thinking about gold, right? Like I'm thinking about all those things, and thinking about bonds, even though I'm not invested in them, right? Like I'm thinking about all this shit and how it works, how it all fits
Oh,
together.
you know what, dude? Sorry, I totally didn't mean to break your concentration there, but
Okay.
I just realized I think, and I have to go and confirm this, but I think that Tesla may have taken over as my number one holding, just
Nice.
with all the pumping that it's been doing lately.
Yeah, I should have sold some at the top when it hit 489, but I was like, I don't even want to sell my Tesla. Like I could have sold some and bought back lower, right? But like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just accumulating. Like Tesla's just getting started. Like electric cars is just their first thing, right? They have also got energy storage batteries.
Oh
That's
yeah,
going to be a whole thing. That's going to be like a whole thing, like a planet-wide thing with solar panels and battery packs for the power plants and for houses and whatever building, right? Like that's just what the future is going to look like. And and then they're also doing AI. They have AI for video for full self driving. They've got AI for Grok, um, which I think yeah Tesla owns a piece of that. I think. I mean that's mainly like a Twitter thing. I think X owns it. Or
hmm.
whatever. Elon Musk owns it privately, I think. But I think Tesla owns some of it. Like Tesla bought a piece of XAI, I think.
Got it.
And like um oh, I'm getting deep into the weeds, but like
Yeah, dude,
um
I'm falling asleep over
yeah,
here. So we'll
all
have to
right.
wrap it pretty quick. But final thoughts on
I don't yeah,
DeepSeek.
deep I don't know, deep sea is just this is with a curveball, but like we're still playing baseball.
Yeah, I mean that's
We're
the thing.
I
I mean
mean,
we're still up a lot.
yeah, American companies have more GPUs, better GPUs. In fact, China was complaining they didn't have enough GPUs.
Yeah, and
The
that's
the deep sea
because
people,
Taiwan doesn't sell them to them.
right? Because we made it illegal because we control the trade routes.
Well, and Taiwan doesn't want to help China because Taiwan doesn't want to join China.
Yeah,
But China looks at Taiwan as Chinese, so
right.
it believes that there is one China and Taiwan is part of it.
Part of yeah. um. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just I think the race is still on for AI and robotics and AI and robotics still. I think that Tesla covers the driving AI and the robotic AI, and then Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all have a bunch of data, right? So what does AI need? What does AI need? AI needs data and it needs GPUs. So who's supplying GPUs? Nvidia right now. They have the best GPUs. Everybody wants Nvidia. Even fucking DeepSeek uses Nvidia GPUs, just older ones,
Right.
because it's not legal for them to have the new ones. And then so everyone likes Nvidia. Even the Chinese people, they still like Nvidia chips. So like Nvidia is going to be just fine. Tesla is going to be just fine because Tesla's working on driving, which, as far as I know, as cool as DeepSeek is, it can't fucking drive, as far as I know.
You should check out a couple of websites I posted into the Zoom chat. There's one for, and this is then I'll that this will be our kind of parting thought when you're concerned with the deep sink and um,
Yeah.
getting into a shooting war.
Well, yeah. These the other Magnificent Seven stocks, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft. They have a lot of data. That's what they bring to the table, right?
Yep.
Nvidia brings the GPUs to the table, and those other companies, they bring the data to the table.
So check this out. Shield Shield.ai
Okay.
is a defense technology company founded in 2015 and headquartered in San Diego, California. It specializes in developing autonomous systems powered by artificial intelligence for military applications. The company's flagship product, HiveMind, serves as an AI pilot that enables drones and aircraft to operate independently without relying on GPS or communication systems, making it particularly effective in complex and challenging environments. Key products and technologies: HiveMind, an AI pilot that allows for autonomous operation of drones and aircraft. They're flying F-16s with this.
Yeah.
They have drones called VBATs, a vertical takeoff and landing drone designed for long range missions capable of operating under electronic warfare conditions. Nova 2, a smaller reconnaissance drone suitable for indoor and urban operations. Check out their website, dude, when you get a chance. It's badass. And then the second one that I posted is Overland.ai. It's a Seattle-based startup founded in 2022 specializing in advanced autonomy for uncrewed ground vehicles. The company recently raised $32 million in a Series A funding, primarily to enhance its technology for military applications, particularly in complex terrains where GPS is unavailable. So, also, both of those companies are run by former Special Forces operators. And um, talking to these guys, you don't got to worry about anything for a long time, as far as they're concerned. So,
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
not to
I,
freak anybody out with thoughts of commie Chinese, parachuting over the Arctic.
yeah. Not yet.
Not yet. Anyways, well, hey man, really good talk. Um,
Yeah.
glad we had it. I would like to do it longer, but we got to get started earlier,
All
and that's
right.
that's just as much my fault. So, anyways, I will go ahead and cut the stream. Buy Bitcoin. Talk